Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Smarter Business Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk to business people who are using video in interesting ways, and we talk small business. In this episode, we have Tim Hyde, who's the founder of Win More Clients, and Tim's a sales expert, small business expert. Welcome to this episode, Tim.
Neil, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Excellent. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about you. How did you get started in this space? And maybe it makes more sense to talk about what your business does before we get into how you got started.
Sure. So Win More Clients is an agency that specializes in optimizing and automating the customer journey that a lot of businesses take. The customer journey is I guess, the process by which someone becomes aware of your business, becomes interested in what it is that you do, buys, but then also importantly, retention and how you keep your customer in your business as well. So what we do is automate and systemize that journey, right? So that you can ultimately win more clients with less effort. And that's something that I think all business owners want to do. My fascination with this really came, however, from a very young age. And I can't blame my parents for my interest in business, because I think I'm the first person in my family that's ever been in small business in any capacity, really. Um, but I distinctly recall as a 6-year-old reading my favorite Uncle Scrooge golden book. And that he would row his boat around his money pit
Right.
of limitless wealth. And
Yeah.
to this day, I don't know what Uncle Scrooge actually does. I don't think anyone really knows what Uncle Scrooge does. He's some form of entrepreneur or philanthropist or something, but he's
Right.
just, filthy rich. And this, as a 6-year-old, this kind of appealed to me. And I thought that, being in business and having fun doing so, because he seemed to have a lot of fun, was this, life goal that I wanted to try and achieve. And I tried a bunch of businesses as a teenager and all sorts of fun stuff like that. And then as I got into adulthood, I found myself in the public service and building a social media site on the side. And this predates, we predated Facebook and LinkedIn. Is probably back into MySpace days,
All right.
that we sort of built this thing. But we built this audience. My partners and I built this audience of people in our hometown. And the thing that I kept finding with the businesses that we would deal with as advertisers is that they didn't have a very mature customer journey.
Yeah.
Right? They'd be okay at attracting attention, but not good at converting that attention or keeping that attention once it was actually converted into customers. And I still see this today. When I try to get work done on my house, we had someone come in and give us a quote for some roofing work just recently, and haven't heard from them since, even
Right.
despite the fact we said, yes, we'd like to buy from you.
Yes.
And as business owners, like we often go into this mindset about, hey, business is hard. We hear this all the time. Most small businesses fail, right? It's become part of this common belief,
Yep.
about small business is hard and blah, blah, blah. And you turn on the news and small business is hard and all these businesses going out of business. But it's only hard because we're not running very effective marketing machines that attracts, converts, and keeps those clients long term. And if you just think about, the trades you've dealt with, or the companies that you've dealt with, and I'm sure your listeners as well will be thinking of some of these companies who've done all the work to chase your money and then completely forgotten about you afterwards.
Right. Right. It's a very common issue, right? And I think it's kind of a two-parter, at least in my opinion. It's asking for the close, which is scary for a lot of people, and that you focus so much on that beginning part of the journey, probably because it's the more maybe the more fun or the more unknown. I don't know which one would do it. Maybe it's something for some people, but then when it comes down to the mundane task of sending out an invoice or closing something with a proposal, that I think people get hung up sometimes, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, it's just a system. Our business is just a system that does this. And as business owners, if we look around ourselves, the businesses that seem to be doing really well, They just have a system by which they do that. Right? We've
Right.
got our own systems, right, by which we attract a significant other, have an onboarding experience, and hopefully keep the relationship, you know, going long term. Um, our business is very much the same as that, right? And I think we owe it to ourselves as business owners, as entrepreneurs, to be as successful as we possibly can. Right? We're the people who change the world. We underpin successful economies. Right? We have impact on the communities that we touch. And I think as a result of that, we owe it to ourselves, right, to be as successful as we possibly can.
Yeah, that's great motivation for making that system more efficient, right? Making it work better. And I think I think that's a great way to put it. And if I usually at the end of our kind of intro time here, when we talk about what you do and what your business does, can you boil it down to one sentence? We're going to practice your elevator pitch here. Can you boil what you do down to one sentence?
Well, look, I keep playing with this. I think as everybody does. Right?
It's
I've
it's
used things like we find the marketing holes in your funnel that you didn't know you have, and fix them using technology that you don't really understand
oh, that's
to
nice.
ultimately help you win more clients with less effort.
Nice, nice. I like that. I think that might be on your LinkedIn profile, right? Something
That's
along
probably
those
something.
lines. So very well done. Well, that's very interesting. And where can people find you? What's the best way if somebody's
Look, probably the easiest way to connect with me is just reach out via my website, winmoreclients.com.au/connect, and you can find a bunch of ways to connect with me on that page.
that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's great. And anybody who wants to, and Tim is also active on LinkedIn, I know. And that's all great ways to get in touch. So, part of the reason that I wanted to have you on the podcast here, Tim, is on the Vidwheel Creator Network here for the month of December. It's Video Sales Month. And you deal a lot in CRMs and sales overall. Um, Video sales, can you integrate video into your sales process or the software that you utilize?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think we've got to, I guess, just bring it back to some fundamentals of communication, right? And we often miss that. We often think, if I mentioned automation before, and a lot of people, when they think automation, they immediately think impersonal, they immediately think email, they immediately think like we'll treat everyone the same. But we've got to look at what creates effective communication at key parts of your customer journey, right? And that's the ultimate the fundamental of what we need to look at doing, right? If a long form blog post is more effective, let's use a long form blog post, right? Blog posts are still very, very good at SEO, right? They're probably much better at SEO than producing video. But if I'm sending out, as a lot of us do, a reminder message to say, hey, looking forward to our discovery call tomorrow, or a strategy call, or whatever you want to call it. If you could put that in as a video form, right? I just shot this quick video, looking forward to our cat call tomorrow. We immediately gain something with video communication that we wouldn't get with just a text message or an email. Right? It can still be delivered via email, but we've got a video in it because immediately, we're connecting with someone visually, right? And as humans, unless you're blind, right, we still get a lot of communication translated through visual imagery. And this is where video can be incredibly powerful. I do it, I do, as I know you do, Neil. You put a lot of video in your content. It's not always just text in your social media. We're putting video up because we want people to get to know us personally, right? And if I want someone to turn up on a call, if I put a video more than just a text message, I'm more likely to have someone show up the call because they've seen me. They've had this visual. They've had, I guess, another means of a sort of
Right.
connectivity with me. That means they're more likely to, right? Now we don't want to let people down.
Yeah.
If you're connecting with a complete
And
stranger, you're like, well, I missed the call. It doesn't matter. I don't really know them.
right. And you've
right?
you've made
But
yourself a real person by showing
you've
up
made
on
yourself a real
video.
person. But
Yes.
a friend, all
Yeah.
right, a friend you're not going to let down like that.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to connect with people through our process.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is a great point, like, to make yourself a real person that's now not like a machine or, just an email address. There's actually a person behind it, and you build a little bit of rapport there just by doing that very simple introduction that might come with hey, looking forward to seeing you at the meeting later. So I think that's an excellent point. It kind of, and to come back to uh communication fundamentals, right? That's ultimately all it is. You're being a person, they're being a person, you're two people talking versus like what sometimes it turns into where you get like a clearly uh generated message, and like, they're trying to push you down the funnel, and you adding some humanity can really help, and video is a great
Yeah,
way to do that.
yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely. Look, I mean, look, we still want to deliberately and systematically move people through our funnel,
Sure.
those that we want to take there, right? We also want to systematically and deliberately remove people from our funnel that we don't want to be
Yes.
there, right? That's important as well. And there's nothing, I think there's, video, because it has so many different sort of elements of communication. It's not just, written anymore. We've got that visual, as you talk about, right? We've got that connection that we talk about. um, you sort of, you pick up other nuances, you pick up facial expressions, you pick up what's in the background, you pick up what
Right.
people are doing. You do have that deeper level of connection when you can see somebody uh, that you don't get, just in that text
Right.
format that so many people use. I think it's one of the reasons that people don't use it is because that's that little bit harder, right? As business owners, we generally get pretty lazy, right? We shouldn't, but we generally get pretty lazy about stuff. We think, oh, that'll do, or that'll do, or that'll do, right? But because people are not doing, look, generally speaking, businesses are not very good at this stuff. And so if you can do it in your process, it's immediately going to make you stand out from all of your competition. You're just starting to create this little bit more remarkable experience. And when you get on a call with someone, like, I mean, I've never met the people I watch on the 6 o'clock news each night, but if I was to meet them in person, I mean, like, I already feel like I know you because I've
Right.
seen you speaking on a regular basis. Maybe I'll read your book or something, but I've seen you, I've seen your gestures, I've seen your hand movements, I've seen your facial expressions, I've heard the tonality in your voice
Yeah.
that you just don't get with other medium. Right?
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
can do that in your sales process, you're immediately going to put yourself just head and shoulders above anyone else in your industry
Yeah.
at connecting with your clients.
Yeah. Certainly would contribute to the trust process right there that's so
Yeah.
popular. So do you think if somebody wanted to use and you've given a great example, but if somebody wanted to use video in their sales strategy, do you think it would impact the way it's put together, or kind of any of the nuts and bolts of that sales process, or is it all just about making it actually human communication, going back to basics there?
Yeah, like I think there's two parts to that question, right? The first is what is your sales process? What are you trying to communicate,
Hmm.
right? And that obviously that has to be effective,
Sure.
right? Um, if you try and send a birthday card to everyone in your funnel on the same day, right? They're looking like you're a bit crazy. And like, hang on, when my birthday is, why you're sending
Right.
this to me today? Um, that's going to be so. There's two questions here, right? So the what is you communicating, and obviously that needs to be effective. And then the second one is how do you communicate that? Okay, so two parts, right? Obviously, most still at this stage, most email clients, right? So I think your Gmail, your Outlook, your Yahoo, or your Apple Mail on your computer, whatever it happens to be, cannot play video inside that browser. So
Hmm.
you're giving someone an extra step. So whilst you're improving the effectiveness of the communication, you are giving someone an extra step that they need to click off and go off to your Wistia or YouTube or wherever it happens to be, Vimeo, right, to watch that video, right? Um, and that's where sometimes a simple SMS or text message to your cell phone
Yep.
can be more effective. But if we can deliver that video message to a cell phone or a video message to an email, the effectiveness of that communication becomes higher. So we've got to moderate. Don't just think that because video is good, we're going to try and put video in every single message we send to a customer,
Right.
right? That's going to become ineffective. So we
Yep.
have to, it's this fine balance between what are we communicating, and the second one is how are we communicating in the most effective way.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point. So it's all about picking your spots, right? And like we talked, that video before the sales meeting you're going to have is a great place to have it because you do some of that humanizing. But if it's you know, some sort of retail flash sale or something, and you send people a long video to watch, or even the extra step of clicking through to watch something that they don't necessarily of interest in, that's not a great fit. So that's
Correct.
excellent. That works well. I think that's an excellent answer to where you might want to put it. It's not about fitting the medium in every phase. It's about where does the medium work best. So that's awesome. um I've got another question here next that's just generally for sales strategy. Video not kind of even considered. What works? Like what is your number one tip if somebody's like, I don't know, the sales funnel is leaky, I keep losing people. What's the thing that you would say they could do?
I think the first thing is there's lots of I guess sales funnels out there, right? Success
Mhm.
leaves clues. You are subscribed to a bunch of sales funnels right now. If you've ever
Sure.
downloaded an ebook anywhere, you've been subject to a sales funnel. If you've ever bought anything in your life, you've been subject to a sales funnel, whether you realize it or not. And success leaves clues. We can observe our own behavior in what makes an impact on us, and then take that back and kind of go, okay, I know what worked on me, or right, but what did they do in that process that kind of made me feel more connected to that no like trust matrix,
Yep.
right? What made me feel more connected to the outcome attached to that particular product or service purchase, right? Then have a look at that and then overlay that on your own process, right? You'll start to observe some gaps in that. Now, one of the really cool things I love about working with automation is that it becomes really, really obvious
Yeah.
because you've sort of got this process that at any point in that customer journey, your customer is either going to do the thing you want them to do, or they're not going to do the thing you want them to do. Right? I think when we caught
Yep.
up, Neil, the first time we were talking about trying to get the kids to clean their bedroom on the first the first time you
Sure.
ask.
Yep.
Right? We know it just doesn't happen the first time. Right? Now, if you've got one of those kids who does clean up the first time you ask them, or wow, all right,
Yeah, right.
please share with us your secrets.
Can we automate it, right?
Okay, but our
Yeah.
customers are very much the same, right? We're dealing with human to human relationships here, right? Our customers are the same, right? At some point, they'll do the things we want them to do, and others won't do it. And when we start to observe what works, and if you find yourself going at this particular point, we had I don't know 1,000 people go to our sales page, and only 5 people opted in. Well, where do the other 995 go?
Right.
Right? Because if your client is worth $1,000, oh, fantastic, you've made 5 grand. You're looking, this is great, right? When I look at it, I go, what happened to the other $995,000 that fell out at that particular point?
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
That
Right?
that
That
is
that's the thing. That to me, that's the interesting part, right? How do we get those people to continue a
mhm.
relationship with us?
Yeah. That's a great point. And a when you're looking at the stages, especially if they're living in a digital space, you do get that information. You know where people are dropping off more than at other stages. So
Yeah,
that's
and we've
excellent.
we've we've got that technology now.
Hmm.
Marketing is no longer a case of putting an ad in a magazine and when
Right.
it comes out,
With
you
the
flip
phone
through it and
number
go,
and
"Oh, there's my ad," and
yeah.
you show everybody really proudly how much money you've spent on this thing, and you go, "Yeah, this is great," right? And then hopefully the phone rings and away you go. Right?
Right.
Now we've got digital integrated throughout an entire marketing process. It's not all digital, it's not all offline,
Yep.
right? But we've got this integrated process. We can actually start to monitor and observe, where people are in our process, right? And most importantly, as I said, where people are falling out of that process.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the mention of the older version of advertising will bring me to the next point I wanted to make. What doesn't work? Like, if you had to say one thing that you see often in sales or marketing, customer journeys, what is it that's just like, why are you doing this? That kind of thing.
Oh wow.
You get,
Well,
I'll
what
let
does
you
it?
pick
What,
just one. That way we won't be here all day.
Let me think this one. Look, what doesn't work is not taking action.
Okay.
There is a cause and effect thing. If you do not put yourself out there and
Hmm.
then wonder why you're not getting any sales, right? This should
That
be fairly obvious. All right.
that's
The
the
number of
ultimate
sales
way.
you are currently making is
Yep.
a direct response to how effective your marketing process is right now,
Hmm.
and all the activity you're doing are generating those sales.
Nice.
So if you stop doing the front end, you will not get the result.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You
Yeah.
cannot take, a bucket of water out of a bathtub and expect there to be a bucket-sized hole left in the market
Yep.
for you to come back to later and fill it in. And you would have heard this term, right? I just if I want some new clients, I'll just turn on the tap.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
No, look, seriously, the tap should be on full bore all the time, and then you get to pick and choose.
Well, and yeah, that is a great point, and that's something that comes up a lot, especially with small business owners, right? Is that fear of success is like, it's a thing. You know it shouldn't be about, all right, I need 10 clients, like, let's make sure we set up for 10 clients. It's like you said, have the tap on full blast, and if you have 100 clients and you can handle 10, you get to pick the best 10, right? Which
That's
is a
right.
beautiful
There,
thing for
there is this fear of like, what if I can't service all these clients?
business.
Like, shit, that's a really good problem to have.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. And to be honest, that's tomorrow me's problem.
Yep, yep. That's a
Right?
great point.
We'll work it out when we get there. But you've got to get there. Right? And if you don't focus on your marketing and invest into this on a daily basis, you will not get the results you want to get in
Yep,
your business. First and foremost, our business is a marketing machine that delivers us profit. Right? Somewhere along the way, we have some customer outcomes as a byproduct of what it is we do, but our business's purpose is to turn attention into money for us. Right? Because with that money, we can create whatever impact we want to create.
yeah. Excellent. Yeah, that's very well put. The simple, the nicely stated simple breakdown there. That's excellent, Tim. So the next thing I want to touch on here is we ask the same question to everybody who comes on this podcast. It's called the Smarter Business Podcast. So what is one thing that you have done to make your business or a client's business smarter?
Look, I'd love to say automated,
That's where I thought we might go here. Yep.
but I'm actually not going to go with that one. I know I
All
might
right.
seem for an automation guy, all right? Automation is awesome, right? Because it systemizes the process. It
Yep.
means I can work on the process and not try to have to make it up every time. But to be honest, I think the thing that's made my business smarter is ensuring that I do regular planning, regular review and planning. I'm just going into this process now as we go into 2022. But taking a really long, hard look at what is working in my business, what's not working, right? And then making sure that every one of the projects we work on each week, my team and I work on, and we generally pick one project a week. It doesn't have to be a big one, but everyone's working on one business improvement project each week. Um, and making sure that the projects we do in the business, the clients we take on in the business, the staff that we bring on into the team are all aligned to our mission, vision, and values, and the projects we want to do that'll take us towards our vision for what our business is going to do.
Hmm. That's excellent. I mean, planning's such a huge piece, and I think it is, especially for smaller businesses and solopreneurs, it's something that's really easy to kind of push to the side and say, I'll get to that when I get to it. And it's just, it can make such a huge difference if you're a little more intentional about it, right? So,
I think we often think that in business, we do get a little bit impatient, right? We want the silver bullet. We want the big quick wins, the big quick gains. And that's
right,
why you see so many marketing promises out there. It's like, you'll get all this money,
right.
but my results are exceptional. And you might not necessarily achieve the same results, right? It's all in this little small print. But business success actually comes from lots of small incremental improvements, right? And regular ones.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's if anybody who's been in business for a while can look back to what they were doing, 5, 10, 20 years ago and be like, wow, if only I knew what I know now back then, right? Such a common phrase for a reason. So, and that brings us to the end of the kind of official questions that I have put in our notes here. One thing that I ask, and this is just a question that kind of, yeah, it comes up when you have a conversation with somebody. Open ended. Did I knock anything loose? Is there anything you would like to say to our audience about your business or this subject or anything else? The floor is yours, kind of thing.
Yeah, look, I think one thing I'd love to. I mean, I could choose a book or some software, all sorts of stuff, and happy
Yeah.
to sort of jump on a call with people and compare notes and recipes and whatever else, and just bad dad jokes if necessary. But one thing I picked up a few years ago that I thought was a really excellent tool to think of as a business owner, and that's a little sort of matrix, right? If you were to write down everything that you do in your business, and I mean everything, right? Phone calls, invoices, follow ups, build web pages, write emails, whatever it happens to be. Okay. Write down everything and then be really honest about putting them into one of four categories, right? Your expert zone, and that's the stuff that you love doing. You could do all day long. It really energizes you and particularly drives your business forward, right? Really actually impacts the bottom line of your business. Second one is your genius zone. Sorry, that was your genius zone. Your expert zone is stuff that you can do and drives your business forward.
Hmm.
Okay. But you don't necessarily love it.
Yeah.
Right. The other two zones I think you should sort of circle here and maybe take a couple of colored highlighters or something. Your competent zone, stuff that you can do, but doesn't necessarily drive your business forward. Right. And stuff that right, if you had to do them, you probably call them energy vampires.
Right. Yes.
Right? I
The
always put
energy
like
drain.
reconciling
Yep.
my accounts into that
Yes.
category,
Right.
to be honest.
Yep.
Right? And then the stuff that you're really, let's be honest, that you're incompetent at.
Yep.
Okay. Stuff that you really don't know how to do, probably shouldn't do, right? You're not really sure what you're going to get out of it. And you're not good at it either. You're not good
Yep.
at it. You don't love it. And it doesn't drive the business forward, right? So all the stuff in your business, four zones: genius, expert, competent, and incompetent.
Yep.
Right? You might be surprised at how much time you're spending on stuff that doesn't drive your business forward and you don't enjoy
Yeah. Yeah.
when you do that.
That's a great exercise and a great point. That like what I have found from doing something similar in the past is that those things that you don't like doing and are maybe really bad at doing also take a huge part of your time if like compared to what they should, right? So if you're really bad, you're talking about reconciling accounts. If you're really bad at that or really dislike doing it, it's going to take you twice, three times as long as it should anyway, right? So it's like a snowball effect on that whole thing on top of it all. So
Yeah. Get rid of that stuff. All
yeah,
right. Outsource
yeah,
it, eliminate it altogether, delegate it, or
yeah.
automate it if you can.
Automate it. Yeah,
You
there
know?
you go.
I mean, look, the difference between small businesses and a listed company is the CEO doesn't actually do anything in a listed company,
Yeah,
right? They would just do the thing that they are genius at, which is organizing and planning, right? They've got other people that do the rest. And we need to think like that as business owners. We need to go, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet. There is stuff in my business that I really shouldn't be doing. I'm going to get someone else to go and do it for which, for them, that's their genius zone.
Right.
That's their expert zone.
Yeah, excellent. That's very well said. And I think that's an awesome way to kind of end it off here. So, to everyone who tuned in to this episode of the Smarter Business Podcast, thank you for doing so. If you like the info that we were or that Tim put out there today, please subscribe, share, and let us know what you think of this episode and this podcast. Tim, thank you very much for taking the time, and thank you for all your expertise.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.